Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado, and this is my buddy Puccini, and he helps me in the craft room. You all met him right after I got him and he's now almost 6 months old, and he's beginning to look like a full-grown cat. He's about 7 pounds and he is just the best buddy anybody could have. And so today what we have for you is we have a hello card, and I'm using some designer series paper that's going to go away. So I want to make sure that I get a chance to use it and show you some ways to do that. And this is Artfully Composed designer series paper. And like I said, what I have is a hello card. So let's just get started. What were you doing, Puccini? Huh? What was my baby cat doing? Huh? Were you taking a lee nap? Huh? Were you taking a lee nap? Huh? Here is my, no, let's start doing that. Let's start over. Here is my card. It says, "A little hello from me to you," and that sentiment comes from the Pansy Patch. Now, Pansy Patch is going to carry over to the new catalog, and it's this one right down here, "A little hello from me to you." And I wanted a pretty simple card, and I think this gets the bill. I'm afraid my panel isn't on here very straight, but we'll fix that in the one we're doing together here. And on the inside, again, very simple. I just thought that this paper is so pretty. What it takes to make this, I used a black card base, 8.5 by 5.5. Well, actually, it's not 8.5 because I cut a bunch of it off. So this started out 8.5 by 5.5, and I cut, I think it was 1.25 inches off of that. Yep, 1.25 inches off of the front panel. And then you need a piece of, this is Old Olive, and this piece is 2 3/4 by 5 1/4. And then my focal piece here, we start out with a piece of this beautiful designer series paper, and this is 2 1/4 by 4. And so my next piece is 2.5 by 4 1/4, and this piece is 2 3/4 by 4 1/2, and these layer one on top of the other. Again, very simple. You can use any designer series paper and pull out a color or two to work with this design. So this card opens this way, and for the inside I have a piece of basic white that is 4 by 5 1/4, and the thing that I changed on this is I did this piece, I think at 3/4 inch, and I think I made this piece 1.25 inches. I thought it was confusing to have this little piece of white showing through, So once we put this very large piece on the end, when we close, that's what we'll see. So that is it. And then I matted my sentiment. So this little sentiment piece is, what happened to my paper? Here it is a 1/2 inch by 3 inches. So this is 3/4 of an inch by 3/4 of an inch by 3¼ of an inch. And that's it. It's very simple. I used our matte black dots out of the catalog. And those I think are going away as well. So it's an opportunity to use some of those. So let's just get started here. I took 1 1/4 inches off of this front panel. And then I have, now the only other thing I did was, I don't know if you can see that on the camera. You can see it if I kind of fold it. What I did was I just used my scoring tool and I scored this at 1/2 inch and then 3/4 of an inch on all 4 sides. And it gives me just a tiny bit of a textured pattern on the front of that card. Very simple to do. You don't even have to have an embossing folder. And then I kind of finger folded a couple of these lines so that they would show up a little bit better on my cardstock here, and that's all ready to go. Now, what I'm going to do is go ahead and place this piece down on my front panel, and that's going to go centered on this piece right here. And then we've got that little bit of texture on there. And I think that adds a little something. I'm going to move that around. There you can see it. I can move it around in the light and you can see it. And in person, it looks very nice. All right. Then our next piece is to mat these 3 pieces together. So I don't like operating without my silicone mat because I just make a gluey mess when I do. So I'm going to go ahead and put my seal on this piece and center this piece on the black. It's so much fun. Now, the other thing you could do is just cut out some black leaves and kind of put them around on the outside of this or underneath this sentiment if you wanted to add a little something different to it. Then this beautiful Calypso Coral here. And the Calypso Coral is a 3rd mat, but I wanted to bring out the Calypso Coral in the paper because I thought that made a little bit better contrast. So here we go. And I don't have any texture. I don't have any ribbon, although we do have a little bit of that old olive, very thin ribbon that's still on the clearance rack. Maybe I'll use a little bit of that somehow on this. Okay, so there we go. There's our focal piece, and we're going to add that here and see that still allows me to see some of that pretty detail that we added there by just scoring the paper. So the inside of this is this piece, which is 4 by 5¼ and I'm going to add that to the inside of my card and getting that centered top to bottom with a similar border along the side there. And there we go. And then this piece that is a bit wider is going to go down here and go all the way to the edge so we get to see these. I think they're called, in real life, they're called parrots, those kinds of flowers. So there we go, and this is going to go right on this edge here, the top, all the way down the side, and all the way to the bottom. And there we go. So now that's very interesting because we can see that paper through there. And when we put this piece on here, it's going to match. I want my parrots going the right direction, however. Now, I did raise this on dimensionals, and the only thing you have to watch is that you put your dimensionals only on this end. So we're going to just do that. Set that here and see if I can do it a little straighter on this one than I did on my prototype here. There we go. And so there is our card pretty much made. Now then, we're going to do some stamping. I put my sentiment on here, and I messed around with doing it in black and then doing it in the Calypso Coral. And since the Calypso Coral is the accent, I really thought it looked much better. So I've got my stamp here all ready to go, putting my Calypso Coral, and because this is a photopolymer, I can see right through this, so it's real easy to get this one centered on this piece of paper right down there. It's kind of a long stamp, so you want to make sure you get pressure all the way across it. And there we go. There's our message, a little hello from me to you. And what we're going to do, I'm going to use my dot runner here. And I'm going to put that on here and then center this across this piece of black. And there we go. Now then, this is raised on dimensionals, and I want to run this across the front of my card. So like this. In fact, I'm going to put this one up just a little bit higher. So what I need is tape on this end, and I need a dimensional on this end so that it's supported at the same height as my focal panel. So here we go, setting that down there and moving it away so I can see all of those layers and making that straight. And that's just about it. Now we have these matte dots that we have here, and I'm just going to use my pick tool. I use some of the larger ones, and I put them just around on the card, and I put a little one on my message and put it down here in the corner, and that looks like that still works. And then on the card itself, just around on a couple places. And I do think adding this scoring detail to that piece of card, 1, 2, 3, 4, yep, that's 5. It feels balanced to me. Really does make a difference for texture. It just makes it so much more interesting than being just plain. And it helps when the focal point is on straight. So that is my project. Very fast and easy. And you can see where, if you were to take another piece of designer series paper, let's even take another one out of this beautiful paper pack. If I took this one, for instance, and did it, then I might want to pull these other colors out of here and use those instead of the ones that I did. And let's see, that's Just Jade and Mint Macaron. So that would make a beautiful card as well, especially with these big, beautiful, bold print. And they're done in black, so it makes using black just a no-brainer. So there we go. That is my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Or you could join my team. Joining Stampin' Up! Is always a good thing to do. The deal is $125 worth of product for $99, and you start out with a 20% discount. And in the case of starting now, just after the quarter starts, it's a wonderful time to join because you get a full quarter before your minimum is due. So your first full $300 you have between now and the end of September to make that first minimum bunch of orders. So if you want to chat about it, please give me a call. My information is always listed below the video. Well, that's it for me. Oh, wait, this is April. My April prize draw is a $60 shopping spree on me. And you can put yourself in the drawing by putting an order of any size on my store, lbedinger.stampinup.net, and you can get to it through my blog, www.inkingenuity.com. So, again, that's it for me, and I will be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye!